All right, so are you ready to dive into Venom: The Last Dance? Because
I am.
we've got all these reviews. Some are good, some are,
Not so good.
yeah, let's just say opinions are all over the place.
Yeah.
So is this the end for Eddie and Venom?
I guess we'll find out.
Let's jump right in. One thing that really struck me is how different the reviews are.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
it's like they watched two different movies. Some call it fun and action-packed.
Right.
Others are like lousy and a total strikeout.
It's pre-wire.
Variety even called Tom Hardy's performance a mumble-mouth Bowery Boy act.
Interesting.
I mean, Eddie Brock is kind of rough around the edges.
Yeah.
But is Hardy going overboard with the mumbling? What do you think?
Well, Hardy's mumbling has become a thing, right? It's kind of like his trademark.
Right.
And it definitely divides people. Some find it adds to that grittiness, while others find it just plain distracting.
Yeah.
For Venom, though, it could be a way to show that duality
Oh, I see.
between Eddie and the symbiote. Like they're both struggling to be understood.
That's a really interesting take on it. But then you've got the rap, calling it a lousy way to say goodbye and a total strikeout.
Yeah.
They seem pretty convinced that Sony's just messing up this whole franchise.
Yeah. There's definitely a feeling among some critics that Sony doesn't know what to do with Venom
Right.
when he's not in the Spider-Man universe.
Exactly.
The rap's harsh words, I think
Yeah.
they reflect this broader frustration with the film's lack of direction.
I think, what are they even doing?
Exactly.
Then there's Nerdist, who compared it to a real-life McBain movie.
Okay.
For those who haven't spent their lives watching The Simpsons, McBain is that fictional action hero
Right.
known for being super over the top.
Totally.
And they seem to love that about Venom: The Last Dance. Especially the whole Eddie and Venom relationship.
The McBain comparison is spot on. It really highlights that campiness of Venom.
Yeah.
And maybe some critics are just taking the film too seriously. You know?
Yeah.
Nerdist seems to get it, that the movie knows it's ridiculous. And that the heart of it is this weird bromance
Right.
between Eddie and his alien buddy.
They are a weird couple,
They are.
but it's entertaining.
Yeah.
And even Digital Spy, who calls this the most entertaining outing of the trilogy, admits there are some flaws.
Right.
It's like even the positive reviews are a bit hesitant
Yeah.
to fully embrace it.
It's interesting, right? It shows that they recognize the film isn't perfect,
Yeah.
but it's still enjoyable. Maybe they're onto something. Like,
Yeah.
maybe that's what audiences really want from a Venom movie.
Why?
Just pure escapism.
Yeah, just fun.
Fun.
Okay, but speaking of things audiences might want or maybe don't want, where's Michelle Williams?
Oh, yeah.
No She-Venom this time around.
Right.
Which feels like
The big miss.
a huge missed opportunity.
I agree.
The director, Kelly Marcel, said they wanted to focus just on Eddie and Venom,
Okay.
isolate them from other characters,
I see.
but was sidelining She-Venom the right move?
Mm.
Especially with her popularity and potential for more story?
That's the question, isn't it?
Right. Was it too many characters? Budget issues? Or maybe they didn't know how to write for her?
Well, Marcel's explanation focuses on the creative side, streamlining the story,
Okay.
going deeper into that central relationship.
Uh,
But you can't help but wonder if there were other things going on,
Right.
especially with the whole conversation about female characters in superhero movies.
yeah, it does feel like a step back
It does.
after her awesome introduction in the last movie. Then there's the whole Sony versus Marvel thing.
Oh, yeah. The never-ending battle.
Always adding another layer of complexity.
It really does. It's interesting that Marcel said Marvel Studios had nothing to do with those post-credit scenes.
Really?
From Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
So what is Sony doing? Are they trying to build their own separate universe? Or are they just messing with us?
Right, because that little piece of symbiote they left in the MCU is still out there.
It's like a cliffhanger.
It is... Sony clearly wants a piece of that MCU success, but they also want their own thing. Leaving that symbiote behind is smart.
Right.
Keeps those crossover possibilities open. It's all about balance.
Speaking of balance, what about Venom's future? The Last Dance was supposed to be the end of the trilogy,
Right.
but now Marcel is hinting at more stories. So is this really The Last Dance, or are they just teasing us?
Well, the title itself feels like a wink, you
Right.
know?
Like a joke.
Like we haven't seen the last of Eddie and Venom.
Right.
And the ending, without spoiling anything,
Yeah.
definitely leaves things open.
Okay, but let's get specific. What hints are there that this isn't the end? Any clues?
Well, the introduction of Agony.
Yeah.
She's a new symbiote.
Oh, okay.
They spent a good chunk of time on her backstory.
Yeah.
So she's not just a random villain. Could she be the baddie in a sequel or a spin-off even?
A She-Venom versus Agony showdown.
Right.
Now that would be something.
It would.
But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Before we go down that rabbit hole,
Yeah.
let's talk about the main villain in The Last Dance. Knull, the god of symbiotes.
Now that's where things get interesting.
That's where we pick up next time.
Can't wait.
Stay tuned.
I will.
We'll see you back here for part 2 of our deep dive into Venom, The Last Dance.
See ya. Knull on the big screen.
Yeah?
That's a big deal.
It is.
This isn't just any symbiote villain.
Right.
We're talking about the one who created them all.
The OG symbiote.
Exactly.
And to play this ultimate baddie,
Yeah.
they got Andy Serkis.
Of course they did.
A director said she had Serkis in mind from the start,
Makes sense.
even when he was directing Let There Be Carnage.
It's perfect casting.
It really is.
I mean, the guy is like the king of motion capture.
He is.
Gollum, Caesar, Snoke.
He's done it all.
He's built a career on bringing these digital characters to life.
Exactly. So who better to play the god of symbiotes?
Nobody.
It's like they looked at his resume and said,
Yeah.
he's played every creature imaginable.
Pretty much.
Might as well give him the god of a whole new species.
Right.
Plus, it adds this whole meta layer.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The guy famous for playing CGI characters
Yeah. Yeah.
is now playing the creator of the creature that gives Venom his powers.
It's brilliant.
It's like a nod to the audience,
totally.
recognizing how superhero movies have changed
Yeah,
and how much they rely on motion capture
for sure.
to bring these crazy characters to life.
Exactly. Now, remember how we were talking about Sony trying to build their own universe?
Yes.
Well, Venom, The Last Dance, throws in another curveball,
Oh.
the Symbiote Codex. It's this genetic memory bank that connects all symbiotes.
Okay, hold on. Symbiote Codex Genetic Memory Bank.
I know.
For those of us who don't speak fluent symbiote,
Aha!
bring it down for us.
Okay, so imagine a giant hard drive
Okay.
with the experiences, memories, and powers
Wow.
of every symbiote ever.
So the symbiote family tree.
Exactly. And this codex is tied to Venom and Carnage, which
Right.
brings up an interesting point.
What's that?
Remember how Carnage supposedly died in the last movie?
Yeah.
What if the codex could bring him back?
Oh, interesting. Like a symbiote resurrection chamber.
Exactly. In the comics, Carnage is known for cheating death
Right.
because of his link to the symbiote hive mind.
Uh-huh.
Now with the codex in the movie,
Yeah.
it seems like they're setting up his return.
That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of crazy, let's talk about the multiverse.
Oh, yeah.
They keep teasing this crossover with the MCU,
Right.
but so far it's been all talk.
It has.
Will we ever see Venom versus Spider-Man?
Well, the multiverse is complicated.
It is.
It opens up so many possibilities,
For sure.
but it also creates narrative and logistical issues.
I see.
Venom, The Last Dance, seems to step back from the multiverse
Okay.
and focus more on building up Sony's own world.
But remember that scene where Eddie and Venom go back to their universe?
Yeah.
Venom literally says, enough of this multiverse shit.
Right.
Is that a real goodbye to the MCU or just a clever misdirection?
It could be both.
Right.
It's ambiguous.
It is,
Keeps the fans guessing.
for sure. So, Venom, The Last Dance, has definitely left a mark.
It has.
Critics are divided.
Mhm.
Fans are debating.
Yep.
Michelle Williams is gone.
Right.
Andy Serkis is a motion capture god.
He is.
And we've got more symbiote lore than we know what to do with.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But the big question remains,
What's that?
is this really the end for Eddie and Venom?
Mm.
Or is Sony setting us up for something even bigger?
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
It feels like we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah. There's so much to unpack.
I've got critics loving the action, some missing Spider-Man,
Right.
and tons of theories about what's next.
It's a lot.
But before we get lost in the multiverse, what are your final thoughts on Venom, The Last Dance? Did it deliver?
You know what's interesting?
What?
It manages to be both a good ending to the trilogy
Okay.
and a jumping off point for new stories.
I see.
It wraps up some things, but also introduces new stuff.
So, like, they're saying goodbye,
Yeah,
but leaving the door open.
exactly. It's a smart move by Sony.
Oh,
They can satisfy fans who want closure,
right.
but also keep things open for sequels, spin-offs.
Maybe even that Spider-Man crossover.
Me.
It's like they're saying the dance is over, but the party's just getting started.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But can they really make a whole universe without Spider-Man?
That's the big question, isn't it?
He's their biggest Marvel character.
He is. They definitely have the ambition,
Yeah,
and they're putting resources into it.
they are.
But can they reach that MCU level of success?
That's a tough challenge.
It is.
But hey, you never know.
True.
Maybe they'll find the right formula.
Some symbiote magic.
A little creative risk-taking.
Speaking of which, after all this discussion about the reviews, the lore, the future, I keep coming back to one question. What does Venom represent today?
Ooh, that's a good one. What do you think?
Well, he's an anti-hero, right?
Yeah.
All about chaos and violence.
Right.
There's also vulnerability there, a
Yeah.
need for connection,
Uh-huh.
Eddie and Venom's relationship. It's all about overcoming differences, finding common ground.
So in a world that feels so divided,
Right.
maybe Venom reminds us
Yeah,
that even the most unlikely partnerships can work.
exactly. If we're willing to embrace our differences and find a way to move forward together.
To symbiotically move forward.
Yeah,
I like that. So maybe that's the real message of Venom, The Last Dance.
Maybe it is.
Finding strength in unity.
Even when it comes from the most unexpected places.
Well said.
Hmm.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder that as you go about your day.
Okay.
Hopefully with a little more insight into the crazy world of Venom.
It is a crazy world.
If a human and an alien parasite can find common ground,
Right.
maybe there's hope for us all.
I like that.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Venom, The Last Dance.
It's been fun.